and the Pokemon Company. Well, how about a shout out? That franchise has been around for 20 years. Pokemon celebrated its 20-year anniversary. There's a big Super Bowl ad. Some of you may have seen it for Pokemon to commemorate that. But they've taken such great care of that game and the environment around it, and such great care in nurturing it all these years. So we felt like bringing that together with our real-world gaming experience, we'd have some level of success. But I mean, it's been nuts. I had to fly to Japan for this Ingress event just as we were starting the global rollout, and I left most of my team behind here. So Ed, thank you. Phil, thank you. Tatsuo, Dennis. These people were sitting there, and the servers just got bombarded.
Right. What do you mean? I haven't had any problems. Worked like a charm right from the get-go.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not going to give any numbers out, but we had a lot of, we worked at Google for a while. Google Maps is used by a lot of people, and there are some world-class technologists on our team, and a huge, amazing team at Google that were backing us up, the Google Cloud team, where our service lives. But we weren't provisioned for what happened, and so we had to add a bunch of servers, and then we had to figure out some bugs in our system that were created by that. But yeah, the team did an amazing job as this thing exploded. But yeah, it was surreal for me in Japan, kind of watching through social media, and my wife and other friends were saying, hey, did you see this? Did you see that? And yeah, when it showed up on Jimmy Fallon, it was like, wow, yeah, I guess it's something at this point.
Well, yeah, and the first couple of days, because I know I would see people get upset and be like, I can't get on, and I had trouble getting on too, and your team tweeted back at me, and they're like, we're working on it, and I just sort of understanding, all of a sudden I was shouting at someone the way that people shout at me about things that I don't entirely control. I don't know who Negan killed, I don't. And so, I understood, they expected it to do well, but I don't think you can't predict this kind of viral quality to something. So I assume you guys were just like, what the shit? Like you're just trying to figure it out right away.
Totally calm. Ice cold. No, there was a little excitement running around the office for sure. But for us, more than anything, as you mentioned, just to go out in the street, we had that experience. I had it in my neighborhood. Our local park was flooded with middle schoolers and high schoolers playing Pokemon Go. People walking the streets of San Francisco. It's so amazing to see. And, I credit that. The game is the game, but the game's really an excuse to go outside and walk around and see your city and have fun with other people. And that's the cool part, I think.
But it's already created, whenever I go to a stop, I see other people there, I instantly have something to talk to them about. Hey, did you find this? Did you catch this? How are you guys doing? And I go to this diner every morning for breakfast, and there's a dude, a real hard-looking dude who kind of seats people, and he's like shaved head. He just looks hard. He just looks like a, dude. He's a hard dude. I'm not. I'm feeble, and so I'm eating, but I'm kind of playing at the same time because I just drop lures at the stops across from the diner, and then I just rake them in. Always drop a lucky egg, double up the XP, and then just like level up. I'll buy the eggs because I have a good job and I don't care. I'll just buy them. I'll just buy like 1,000 eggs. Like I don't give a shit. I'll use them. And
by the way, if this feels unrehearsed, it's because yesterday we were supposed to practice this, and Chris spent the first 10 minutes catching a Pikachu. So
you know why? The Pikachu showed up the second you walked in the room. I was like, you're magic.
But this is supposed to rehearse.
But this dude, you can't rehearse these. This dude at the diner, he saw me playing, and he looked around, and he goes, hey man, there's a shit ton of Pokemon at the Santa Monica Pier. And I'm like, oh my God.
I might have to go offline and get something else so I can run my app.
Like, we bonded over this. So, and I don't know if you guys saw this from the State Department. Did you see this from the State Department? There was a press conference. And he said to the front row, you're playing the Pokemon thing right there, aren't you? And the reporter goes, I'm just going to keep it open. And later on in the conference, the guy goes, did you catch him? And he's like, yeah. So, but beyond that, beyond just the fact that it's entertainment,
make sure to follow me on Twitter.
Real health benefits and there's real social value to what's happening. I know the Guardian called it a national health service. They said, what makes Pokemon Go irresistible is that it's basically a good old-fashioned treasure hunt crossed with a fairy tale, adding up to that parenting holy grail, an excuse to go out in the fresh air and move. So it's actually helping people exercise, do better for their health. Was that something you had planned?
Well, I had done some reading when we were first starting up the group about, and for me personally, I was in a real high-stress job for those 7 years when we were building Google Maps. I mean, you can imagine all the craziness around that as that product kind of exploded and Google and so on. And I was just personally trying to get more relaxed in my life, and I was reading about ways to do that. And as it turns out, walking actually has huge amounts of benefit for you physiologically and mentally. There have been a number of studies about this. There's a great book called Spark about this. It actually makes you smarter, so you think better whenever after you walk. Helps your brain function. That's why a lot of scientists are sort of known for taking long walks in the woods and when they're trying to solve hard problems. So we had this idea that if we could incorporate a little bit of that into the app, that people would probably like it. But we certainly didn't want to advertise that as, a fitness app or something of that nature. I mean,
right.
I've got kids. You don't tell your kids that it's good for them. You give them something that tastes good, and it also happens to be good for them. So, we just thought we could roll it in, and it would make a really fun product to incorporate that. But it's been great to see. I mean, I've got a 10-year-old who, he loves to play Minecraft like every other 10-year-old in the world.
No problem.
And he's begging his mom to go out on 5-kilometer walks and 10-kilometer walks to hatch his eggs. So my wife's very happy about that, and that's a good thing.
But beyond the exercise benefits, I know it's also been used as a mental health aid for emotional support in hospitals. They're starting to use it therapeutically to work with children. I know it's been especially helpful for autism and people working around it. But you guys have a video, a quick little video.
Yeah, this was cool.
If I'm trying to get a kid to raise his arms up or to squat down, I can say, hey, the guy's a little bit lower, can you reach down and get him? And that's just a really tricky way that physical therapy or occupational therapy can get a kid to do the exercise that he was screaming and crying about 5 minutes ago that he didn't want to do. It kind of raises the general atmosphere of happiness here. It's a technology that's only going to get better and can be more exciting.
So this probably wasn't something that you foresaw when you were designing this. It would be a therapeutic tool.
Yeah, obviously we're not doctors, and we didn't think about it from that point of view. But from the standpoint of us and the team back at Niantic, and again, everybody on the team, thank you. People have been working 24/7. The thing that gets people out of bed and people tell this to me practically every day. The thing that motivates them to put so much into working on their product and keeping the servers up and running is to hear back stories like that people are using the product in ways that we never expected, and it's having a benefit out there that's bigger than just playing a game. So
yeah, and I would encourage, I would imagine that when you release something like this, you just don't know how people are going to ultimately use every corner of the app and every corner of the service. So I guess if people are discovering different ways to utilize the app and the service, I assume they should just share that with you, tweet that at you guys, let you know, send videos, send stories?
Yeah, please do. If it's bringing you, brings you to a good experience socially or exercise or whatever, share it. It's a great positive cycle. I don't need to tell you guys, there's a lot of negative stuff going on in the world right now. All you have to do is watch the evening news. And I don't know, maybe part of the reason that people embrace Pokemon Go this summer is because of that.
Sure, follow me on Twitter.
Out there. And it's a bright spot, for the reasons I mentioned. I'm not trying to hype the game so much as to say the things it's encouraging people to do, which is hang out with other people and go outside, get to know your neighbors, meet new folks. Those are the actions that are going to get us as a society through the period that we're going through right now. So share it, absolutely.
I don't think, yeah. I don't think anyone would discount that seeing a Jigglypuff automatically makes them happy. Just, oh my god! I had people at the comedy show the other night who were tweeting pictures of different Pokemon that were on the stage instead. But it was great to. It's just been a really great way to immediately connect. And also, Pokemon was this game put me in the really wonderful position of having to explain to two women in a yogurt shop that I was not photographing their children. Because I just I've turned my AR off now, like when I'm in stores or restaurants, because I just noticed I was doing this, and people were like, what? So,
if something spawns, I'm gonna film you, okay? I'm gonna film your phone.
Suggestions that you guys have? Are there other
Don't be
things
creeped
that
out
you
if I like start going like
maybe
this.
have coming up, or Easter eggs, or anything about the game that you would share?
I've got like
with
10 of
people,
them
or
since the
anything
panel
else?
started.
Well,
Like, what would you get?
there are a lot of Pokemon.
Like Ponitas, a bunch of Ponitas, huh?
Working on crafting this amazing universe for so long, as I mentioned.
Charmander.
Oh, what?
And I mean, to your point about you're gonna be happy, the characters are just fantastic. And you know, that's to the creativity and care that's gone into that, into making them by the Pokemon Company.
Execute.
So there are a certain set of Pokemon that are available in the game right now. They appear in certain places. They like to live in certain
I
habitats.
kept getting Ponitas.
There's some rare ones that haven't shown up yet that probably will show
It's just as the
up.
panel.
And beyond first-gen Pokemon, there are other Pokemon that might make their way into our universe. So that's something that we're looking forward
I got
to,
you.
finding interesting ways to make that happen over the coming months and years. I know a lot of people are interested in trading. For those of you that, if you played, you know, the Game Boy version, the Game Boy Advance version, the DS version, trading, cable, you hook up, you trade. That's really awesome. I mean, that's a great kind of social thing. It's a reason to talk to somebody, strike up a conversation. So that's not in Pokemon Go today, but it is something that we are working on bringing to that product. But don't get too excited, because we have to like kind of make sure the servers are going to stay up before we can work too hard on that. And there are some other things. I've been working on gyms and Pokestops. I see lures everywhere, like in the park across the street. You know, I was in Old Town last night. There were lures on almost every Pokestop down there. So we think that's a pretty cool idea, that you can find an object, acquire an object that's going to change the functionality of a Pokestop and give it new capabilities. There aren't Pokemon centers in the game right now. There's some other functionality that we want to bring to it, probably through the ability to customize Pokestops along with your friends and teammates to kind of build up an area for your gameplay.
Right, so the gyms aren't really the last stop. There's more to come. There's more to do, and more things to do with them beyond that.
Yeah, I mean, Ingress has been running for 3 years. It's an MMO. Pokemon Go we look at as an MMO, meaning this is it's a massively multiplayer online game that we expect to run for years, and we're going to continue to invest in it in that way, extending the functionality, adding new Pokemon, adding new capabilities throughout the product. So we're excited. We got probably a tenth of the ideas that we had when we kicked this thing off 2 years ago into the initial release. So, and we're obviously getting flooded with lots of great ideas coming in from the community. So it's just the beginning. Absolutely.
Can I pitch just a dumb idea? Can I just pitch one idea?
Why not?
Okay, good.
Here we
Right.
are.
Right. What are you going to do? Say no? There's 7,000 people. There's going to be like, no, I don't want to hear it.